Hey guys, so today's video, Jonathan and I will be ranking our top 5 favorite disaster movies, and just specifically by disasters, weather disaster movies. So hopefully you enjoy.
Yeah.
So coming in at number 5 is The Hurricane Heist. I've seen this movie, Jonathan hasn't, so this one will really be me talking about it mainly. I saw The Hurricane Heist in the theaters when it came out in 2018, and for me, originally I really was excited to see it because I thought the idea was very cool. It was a bank heist in a Category 5 hurricane, which sounded awesome. It was directed by the director who did The Fast and the Furious, so that immediately sounded awesome. I went to see the movie though, and it was a huge disappointment both on the disaster level and just the whole bank heist level as well. The disaster part of it, it was just the effects weren't so much that they looked bad. It was more that they just didn't know specifically what a tropical depression really looked like, or storm, for that matter. And then the bank heist part of it, it was just so by the numbers. It was like, all right, the Category 5 hurricane's going to come in, and we're going to steal the money and take off when the eye's over us. That was literally it. I was like, there's no real originality to it. And the two other things that I really was weirded out about, kind of, one of them was that one of the main actors in it could not do a southern accent at all. It was horrendous, sounded horrendous. And then the main thing I was really just weirded out about was the fact that it showed this like skull face or something through the clouds of the hurricanes, both in the beginning of the movie and at the end. I was like, what is this? What does this come from? I didn't understand the point of it at all. So that's number 5. It was very disappointing. Number 4 for me is Sharknado. For me, I love the Sharknado film series because of how cheesy and over the top it is.
Fair enough.
But it comes in number 5 because a lot of people won't like it. Or 4, sorry, that's right, 4.
Yes.
Comes in at number 4. The reason it comes in at number 4 is mainly because a lot of people won't like it at all, just because of how cheesy and over the top it is, and
it's a very strange concept as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and a lot of people aren't going to be very.
They're not gonna react well to it, really. Plus, the CGI effects for the sharks do not look good at all. The disaster part of it with the tornadoes and stuff, those parts look actually kind of fine. They don't look great, but they look fine. But yeah, this is a very ridiculous movie series, and just it's not for everyone. Now,
for sure.
Top 3, both Jonathan and I have seen, so we can both of us can give input on them. The Day After Tomorrow comes in at number 3. We actually just watched this earlier today.
For sure.
Rewatched it, and we both really enjoy it. The visual effects are fantastic for the disaster part of it. In fact, my favorite scene in any disaster movie is in this movie where they have the scene of showing all of the 3 massive storms.
That is so true.
It's honestly like the greatest disaster scene I've ever witnessed.
I think for me, my personal favorite in this one was seeing the tri-state area through the eye of the storm. That was
very cool too.
An amazing scene. They did an excellent job with that, and then the ending scene as well.
Yes.
Honestly, I think for me, this probably would have been my number 2. I think this would have been my number 2. I would have switched out Geostorm and this, if this had been me.
Yeah. This list is primarily what my list would be for these.
List,
but I think generally our list would be pretty close.
It would definitely be very close, I think. It would
honestly, as well, the cast for this movie is great to go along with it.
So
we have Dennis Quaid, a young Jake Gyllenhaal before he had the beard and kind of aged a bit, before he was in Spider-Man Far From Home. So that was very fun to see. All around, it was a very well-made, very just extraordinarily cool disaster film.
For sure.
And
And it was a unique concept as well, but not too
right,
unique like Sharknado.
yeah, Sharknado
Um,
was just they were like, what two things can we merge
Almost
together
definitely.
and
Make the
just
most
just be crazy with it. Just
Yeah, make the most ridiculous movie possible.
yeah,
But no, this one balanced it out quite well.
yeah,
Special
for sure.
effects.
Yeah, there was, I think, some cheesy dialogue.
There was a bit.
It wasn't too much, so thank God, really. But because honestly, this movie was played very straight and serious, so that was
So true.
really really props to it. And actually, between The Day After Tomorrow and 2012, both directed by Roland Emmerich, I prefer The Day After Tomorrow. Mainly because it's shorter, a lot shorter. This movie is just a little over 2 hours. 2012 is like 2 hours and 40 minutes or 45 minutes, so
Yeah.
it's like Avatar long. It's just not good length for a disaster film. So now coming in at number 2 for me is Geostorm. For Jonathan would be number for number
Yeah,
3,
number
and The Day After Tomorrow would be number 2.
Definitely.
But both of us really enjoyed Geostorm. I enjoyed Geostorm a lot more. I saw this in the theater as well. And I thought this was a great movie to see in the theater because the scope of the movie was fantastic to see on screen and play out.
That is true.
I thought the visual effects actually looked a lot better than a lot of people thought, especially with the one scene where they actually showed the hurricane and stabilizing it with the satellites.
That's very true. That was a fascinating scene, and as
Yeah.
well with I think they did a good job with the artificial lightning bolts in Orlando.
Right.
Those looks quite realistic.
Yeah, that is true. And on top of it as well, the cast was great. We had Gerard Butler, who a lot of you know most likely from the London Has Fallen movie series. Jim Sturgis, I don't know him, I don't think from any other movies, but he did quite well in this. Abby Cornish is in it. I don't know her from any other movie, but she also did well. And then we had Ed Harris and Andy Garcia, which both actors are fantastic.
For sure.
I love both of them, and they did very well in this film as well. I thought the performances were very good for this film.
Most
And
definitely.
honestly, of course, again, since it's number 2, the disaster effects on this in this are fantastic.
Very
really.
realistic, 100%.
Yeah. For sure. So yeah, and also actually the biggest thing for me that this came in number 2 is that it gave the best idea for us, especially nowadays with climate change going on and all these active hurricane seasons we've seen. It's shown what climate change could really do at some point in the future.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is to the extreme. Probably the most accurate would be in the beginning when the Earth was being ravaged by strong hurricanes over
Yes.
Category 5 strength, stuff like that.
Right.
We're not going to have massive tsunamis destroying
Deserts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
deserts.
Yeah. But still, that was fun to see in the movie.
Oh, for sure.
Even though it was honestly kind of ridiculous.
Well, that's
but
the whole point
whatever.
of a disaster
Yeah.
movie, my friend.
That's true, yeah. All disaster movies are ridiculous, but of course some of them are better than others.
Yes.
And number 1 for me is Crawl. This came out last July. This is a mix of a disaster and horror movie. This comes in at number 1 for me. One, because it was the perfect length. It was an hour and 28 minutes, so it was very short and knew what it needed to do, and it did it very well. The disaster effects on this were fantastic. I actually
Oh
showed
my
Jonathan
gosh,
this yesterday.
Those were superb effects. Those were
Yeah.
probably some of the best effects I've seen in movie making, because oftentimes one of the things I don't like in movies is they'll show something and then in the next clip it'll have changed. Like
Right.
they'll say, "Oh, there's a storm coming," and they'll have clear sunny skies,
Right,
and I'm like,
yeah.
"Come on,
It's
guys,
like,
get it together." So,
Yeah, and also this movie showed the best effects of a Category 5 hurricane that I've seen in any disaster film.
that
honestly.
is true. I liked the realism in it.
Yeah, plus the water in it looked real. The clouds even looked real. And then on top of that, it was a film about a girl and her dad getting stuck in a crawl space. I think this was Crawl because it was based with the girl and her dad getting stuck in a crawl space in their house, and the fact that there are alligators hunting them, and
for sure.
alligators crawl. So
Right.
there's that. But the horror aspect with the alligators was also really well done. The alligators looked very real,
Creepy.
and it was very creepy,
Oh, for
very
sure.
intense, especially when they were in the crawl space and the alligators were hunting them. Very claustrophobic. So, well,
Most
if you're
definitely.
very claustrophobic, you may or may not enjoy this.
And you
But
know, it's going back to the crawl space too. I think they did an excellent job there. The suspense. I liked how they combined the alligators and the rising water because I think
right,
that's something that a lot of movies can't really combine two major aspects well. They'll either go too over the top or too under.
exactly.
But I really think this movie went very well with holding the suspense in the middle.
Yep.
There was a lot of unexpected twists and turns as
Yeah.
well.
Yes. So I think it really balanced out the disaster and horror elements of it very well, mixed them very well, and especially with the running time, it was just perfect.
Oh, for sure.
So that's what comes in at number one. If you haven't seen Crawl, I definitely recommend it. It's
100%.
actually the best reviewed disaster film I've ever seen. It when it came out, it had a 100% critical approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which by far blew out any other disaster film because typically they're like 60% or
Oh,
below.
100%. I mean, even now it still has an 83%.
Right. It fell by 17% to a certified fresh at 83%. And
Right.
actually, if you press on Rotten Tomatoes, see what the audience score is. Let's see
I
how
will
much
check
audiences
that.
enjoyed it. 75%. So 75% of audiences enjoyed it.
That's
Which,
a very solid rating.
yeah. So Crawl, a very, very solid disaster film mixed with horror, so there's an added bonus there for those of you who may like the horror genre.
Oh, for sure.
So that's that. That's what comes in at number one for me. So please, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. I would actually like to see whoever watches this video comment what your favorite disaster films are, whether it's a ranking or just saying what your favorite disaster film is.
Yeah, for sure. We'd love to see it.
Yep. So, so again, hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.